Welcome back, everybody, to another thrilling episode of Thrive Street Programming with Coach 2J. This is your host, Jeremy Jones, and today we're going to talk about teaching people about skill practice versus conditioning, and we're also going to go over the workout with these overhead squats. So, one of the concepts we want people to understand, and I have an article about this, is that when we're practicing a movement, people's form should be going up, right? Because they're figuring things out, they're changing their technique or their timing or their positioning, and as they go, their technique is improving. So at the end, they should be better than when they started. Versus conditioning, we might see a little uptick in the first round or two, but then usually the skill starts to drop off because now we're fatigued, and now they're both important for progress, right? I'm not saying that we should look at all conditioning as bad, but there's two different outcomes here, right? So when we start to condition ourselves, we're taxing our bodies so that it will adapt and respond to those challenges and get stronger, faster, longer, everything that's good. But the problem with always doing conditioning only and never doing skill practice is that people are not going to get the skills that they need. So they're never going to achieve the overhead squat or the double under or the handstand push-up or the ring dip or the muscle up or all the different things that we do, right? So when we're doing our dynamic warm-ups and when we're doing the skill practices, we actually want to see people's movement and technique and skill improve. And then in our conditioning workouts, we expect to see a little bit and we expect to see some drop-off. Now, I try to design the workouts so I limit this. It's one of the reasons why I'm a fan of smaller sets, and more rounds, shorter workouts in general compared to some other programs. And that's because we tend to see people not only develop bad form or bad habits, they also tend to get injuries because they're not doing the movement correctly, or they're doing it under fatigue, and then they have to use the incorrect muscles or what have you. So just explain to people that with skill practice, your technique, your form's going up as the session goes on, and then in conditioning, it's usually going to go down a little bit. And we want to make sure that the overall balance of these two things means that their technique is improving. So we got our dynamic warm-up option here, and again, you see the barbell complex coming up, and this is again just a way to build more technique and people to get comfortable with the bar. They're also designed just to be nice little flows so that they flow together well. Give people more repetitions on these movements, and then you can also see how people see how they're moving, right? So you can diagnose what's going on with people and also plan out your attack for how you're going to help them today. Then we're going to do some shoulder activation or mobility, and because we are doing some overhead squats in the some power snatches and overhead squats in the workout. And again, this is a common thing because I want people to get feel like they're getting some strength work in, but it's very limited. They're not going to get a lot stronger from working up to a couple reps of overhead squat at their 80-90% of their max if they even get that high. But the idea is that squat snatch plus overhead squat, and so people will have a chance to play around with the movement, experiment with it a little bit. Maybe they haven't been doing squat snatches in Metcons yet, but they do it well in the warm up and the skill practice. So then you say, hey, today why don't you do some when you go from the 6 power snatch, you can turn that into a squat snatch and count it as a rep, right? So they get a little bonus on it, for example. And so the idea is that you also get to see people, instead of putting them under the clock or under a significant load, you put them under a little bit of weight to see how they're performing. And if they can't do these movements without the clock and the timer, and people yelling and the music up, if they can't do it in the skill practice warm up, then you're going to need to modify the workout for them. So again, maybe it's power cleans in front squats or dumbbell cleans in front squats. Maybe it's hang power cleans and dumbbell front squats, so you can always do that just by seeing how they're doing here. If they can't even do a PVC pipe overhead squat, go ahead and have them practice them and do some drills for working on overhead squats, and then go ahead, maybe they just do then they can practice their cleans instead, and then go right into the workout. So again, what we're looking for across the course of that 8 to 10 minutes is their technique improving, so they've made progress on that movement. So we got Bowchaser, 22 minutes. We're going to do a 1,500 meter row all levels record as a benchmark. So you're going to need to stagger start people. Again, from a timing standpoint, this is a 22-minute workout, so that row is going to take about 7 or 8 minutes. So you'll have to stagger people. If you have to do 2 waves, you'll have to start it at about 30 after. If you've got to do 3 waves, then you're going to have to start it at 22 after or so. So plan accordingly. So you might have to cut the skill work down a little bit so you have some time to go over maybe some of these other movements, but it's a 1500-meter row. Like I said, it should be I put 6 to 7 minutes in for the row, but realistically, there's gonna be a lot of people who take 8 minutes. A 2-minute 500 would be a 6-minute, and then a 220 average would be a 7 minutes. So 220 can be tough for people, for some people. So just be aware of that. But then we want them to record that as a benchmark, right? So that they can put that in their phone, in their paper log, sugar wad, be on the whiteboard, whatever, so that they know what their 1500-meter row. It's very similar to a mile type effort. The 1500 and the 2000 are both kind of in that range as far as performance goes, and it's good to know for pacing purposes. And we do have some rowing workouts coming up that are a little bit longer in the rowing, so it'll be good for them to have that logged. Then after and it's okay for them to go hard because we have 2 minutes rest, right? So then after the 2-minute rest, then it's just max rounds the remaining time. So again, if they take 7 minutes or so, 2 minutes rest, that means they're 9 minutes in. That means they have 13 minutes to do the rest of the AMRAP. And they're going to be a little bit fatigued, but after 2 minutes rest, they should start to recover. And then 6 power snatch, 6 overhead squats, 6 weighted strict pull-ups. Use a dumbbell between the feet or the ankles. And so health is you can do assisted, and then a 400-meter bear crawl, and then the scale up is the handstand walk. So it's a fun little combo. But the main thing I wanted to point out was that how to stagger the rows, and then no cash out on this one because it should be pretty taxing for people, especially if they try to row like they're doing a PR. That's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot, and thrive on.